Hello everyone, as promised, here is the review video to go over the questions that you'll see on the quiz tomorrow. Again, these are not the same numbers, so it won't be the same answers on the quiz, but I did just want to go over each type of question with you so that you had an understanding of what the questions are asking when you take the quiz tomorrow. All right, so this first question, what percent is this 100 grid showing? So you have to count up the shaded in squares, and that will tell you what percent it is. So it's 10, 20, 30, 40. Oh, I can't count all the way to 50 because this one isn't shaded in all the way. So it's 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 41, 42, 43, 44. So the answer for this one would be 44%. All right. What percent does the fraction represent? So this fraction is 3/4. All right. Now, if you know your fractions and you know the benchmark percents we learned about, you could do this a different way, but I'm going to show you the long way where you do some math. So what you're going to do is you're going to create an equivalent fraction and make the denominator 100%. You make it 100% because 100% is a whole when you're talking about a percent. And we don't know what the actual percent is. So now we just have to see how we go from the first fraction to the second fraction. So to go from 4 to 100, I'm getting bigger, so I'm going to multiply. And I'm going to multiply 4 by, do you know it? 4 by 25, because 4 times 25 equals 100. Now, whatever I did to the bottom, I have to do to the top. All right? So I'm going to do 3 times 25. Go ahead and do the math, write down your answer, and then see if you got the right answer. You can pause the video if you need more time to work. The answer is 75%. What percent does the fraction represent? 75%. Hope you got it right. All right. Ronnie and Kenny are calling their customers. Ronnie has called 70% of his customers. Okay. So Ronnie is 70%. Kenny has called 3/5 of his customers. All right. Who has called a greater percentage of his customers? So we're answering the question who. So our answer is going to be either Ronnie or Kenny, but we need to do some math before we are able to give the answer. All right. So here it says percentage. So Ronnie's amount is already in a percent, which means we only have to change Kenny's amount 3 out of 5 to a percent. So again, we're going to make an equivalent fraction. And what do you put at the bottom? What do you put as the denominator in your equivalent fraction when you're talking about percents? You're going to put 100. Because 100 is always the whole or the denominator when you talk about percents. All right, to go from 5 to 100, what do you do? We're going to be multiplying, and it's going to be 5 times 20. Then whatever you do to the bottom, you need to do to the top. So 3 times 20, go ahead and get your answer about 3 times 20 down. Do you have it? 3 times is 60%. Am I done? No, I have to tell who has called a greater percentage. I don't just find the percent, okay? So Ronnie had 70% and Kenny had 60%. So who had the greater percent? That would be our boy Ronnie. All right, Ronnie is the answer. This next question, what percent does the following strip model show? It's asking what percent of this shape is shaded in blue, all right? For any type of shape and shading you do, you're going to want to find, one, how many pieces there are in all, and how many pieces are shaded in. In this, like just over here, if we had counted it up, we would have found that there were 100 pieces in all, and we found that there were 44 pieces shaded in. Okay, so for this one, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces in all, and 1 piece shaded in. So that is my fraction. But I need to find the percent now. If you know your fourths and you know how much 1/4 is as a percent already, awesome. But if you need to do some math to figure it out, what are you going to do? Make an equivalent fraction, have the denominator be 100%. Is it getting boring yet? I hope so. So 4 to 100%, that is times, do you know it? 5. Nope, sorry, 4 times 25. All right, and then a 1 to 100 is going to be 1 times 25, which is 25. So our answer for what percent does the following strip model show? Our answer is 25%. I just counted how many pieces we had in all. I counted how many pieces were shaded in, and then I made an equivalent fraction with the 100 as the denominator. Easy peasy. Write the following percentage as a decimal. Okay, this is my favorite, this is my favorite math trick, okay? So hopefully you remember it. All right, 79%. Then we call on our friend Beyonce. We're gonna move this percent sign. All right, and we're gonna move it to the left, to the left. All right, now it changes and it's not a percent sign anymore. Now it's a decimal point. So your answer for write the following percentage as a decimal, that is 0.79. There you go. All right, let's look at the next one. This one's kind of tricky, okay? Louisa and her friends are eating an extra large pizza with 10 slices, all right? So our whole is 10 slices, all right? I saw one of our students, one of our teammates, draw a picture for this problem, and I think that's pretty smart. So I'm gonna do the same thing, all right? There's the pizza, and it told us they had 10 pieces, so I'm gonna just divide it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just make it clear that it has 10 pieces. It only has 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. All right, so now let's read the question. There are 10 slices in this pizza. Louisa ate 0.20 of the pizza, okay? Louisa ate 0.20 of the pizza, okay? Chantel ate 40% of the pizza. And Sarah ate 3/10 of the pizza. All right. How many slices? How many slices of pizza did Louisa and her friends eat in all? Right when I read that, I know that my answer is going to be somewhere between 1 and 10, okay? Because it's asking me about how many slices, and there are only 10 slices in all, so it can't be bigger than 10. All right, I'm going to go ahead and look at Sarah's amount, okay? Sarah's amount was 3 out of 10, which means that there are 10 pieces in all, and Sarah ate 3 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and color in 3 pieces. Okay. All right, so now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. All right, but still there was 10 in all, okay? So there are a lot of different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the way that I think is just simplest, straightforward, and you'll definitely get the right answer, okay? I'm going to turn all of these, except this one because it's already in a fraction out of 10. I'm going to put all of these into a fraction out of 10. But before I can do that, I need to do it out of 100. That's just easier. Remember, I'm doing 10 because there's 10 slices in all. All right, so 0.20, to make that into a fraction out of 100 first, I know that when I write a fraction for a decimal, I can write whatever I see behind the decimal point as the numerator. So if I see 20, 20, so I can write 20 on the top, all right? Then I'm going to make my denominator 10, okay? Because that's how many pieces of pizza we have. And 100 to 10, this time I'm getting smaller, so I have to do divided by. 100 divided by 10 equals 10. And whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 20 divided by 10 is going to be 2. Okay? 2/10. So our girl Louisa ate 2/10. 1, 2. 2 pieces out of 10 in all. All right? Now we just need to do Chantel's. Okay? 40%. To make that into a fraction out of 100, you can do, well, 40, because in a percent, the whole is always 100. And so when you write 40 up here, that still says 40% out of 100%, okay? And then I change it, I make an equivalent fraction with 10 as the denominator because 10 is my whole again. And now I just do the same thing. I divide 100 to 10 is dividing by 10. 100 divided by 10 equals 10. And now I just have to do 40 divided by 10 equals 4. Okay? So Chantel ate 4 pieces. All right, let's go ahead and color in Chantel's pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we had 2 pieces. All right, that was Linda's up here. All right, and then we had 4 pieces, and that was Chantel's. We did 3 over here, and this one was Chantel's as well. And then we had 3 pieces, which we knew were Sarah's. All right, so now 2 plus 4 plus 3, 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9. So they ate How many slices of pizza did Louisa and her friends eat in all? They ate 9 pieces in all. Whew! That was a long question. All right. Let's do this one really quickly. Write the following decimal as a percent. Okay? We're just going to do the opposite of what we did with our percent to decimal. Now, since we're going from decimal to percent, okay, we're just going to go take our decimal and move it to the right. All right? And then instead of a decimal, it becomes a percent. So then 52% is our answer. Okay, now I want to go over questions that we just learned about, and we're going to use our part to whole formula. I'm sorry, our percent problem formula that my friend Rosa introduced us to help us, okay? All right, this first question says, Sophia has a new beaded necklace. 30 out of 50 beads on the necklace are blue. What percent of the beads on Sophia's necklace are blue? Write your answer as a percent. All right, so I already know that I already know that I'm looking for the percent. I do not know it yet. So I'm just going to put a question mark there. All right. Then you always have 100%. Okay. Now it's part to whole. I'm just going to do 30 because that's 30 out of, all right, the number that follows the words out of is our whole. So 30 out of 50 equals something out of 100. Now, there are a couple ways to solve this. You could do our butterfly method when you multiply across, all right? Or you see that 50 goes into 100 evenly. So you could just go from denominator to denominator. And 50 times 2 equals 100. Whatever I do to the bottom, I need to do to the top. So 30 times 2 equals, anybody know it? 30 times 2 equals 60. So this answer of what percentage of beads on Sophia's necklace are blue, the answer is 60%. But what if our question has a denominator that doesn't go into 100? Let's figure that out first. Juan has Juan has a lot of Pokemon cards. 15 out of the 60 cards he has are rare Pokemon with special powers. What percentage of Juan's cards are rare Pokemon? All right. So when I look at my formula again, I know that I am looking for percent because it's asking what percentage. So I don't know my percent yet. My part, 15 of the 60. 15 out of the 60. 15 is going to be my part, okay? Because it's just some of the cards out of the 60 cards he has. All right, 15 out of the 60 cards he has. What percentage of Juan's cards are rare Pokemon? All right, 15 out of 60 equals something we don't know out of 100. All right, right here, 60 cannot go into 100 evenly. All right, so instead, we have to do one of two things. You can either simplify this fraction to get it to something that will go into 100, or you can do the butterfly method. For this one, I suggest you simplify, okay? So 15 over 60. When I simplify, remember, I'm going to have to write out the factors. So it's 1 times 15, 2 times, nothing, 3 times 5. All right, and that's all of 15's factors. And then for 60, I can do 1 times 60, 2 times 30, 3 times 20. Oh, well, 3 goes into 15, and 3 goes into 60. So let's use that to simplify, okay? 60 divided by 3, and 15 divided by 3. We're working backwards, okay? 15 divided by 3 is going to be 5. And 60 divided by 3 is going to be 20. So that is our new fraction. It's equivalent. It still means the same amount, all right? But it's going to be easier to work with, okay? All right, so it's going to be all right, 5 over 20 is equal to some percent over 100. Now we can solve from 20 to 100. That's going to be times 20 times 5 equals 100. And whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 5 times 5 equals 25. So our answer back here for what percentage of Juan's cards are rare Pokemon, the answer is 25%. Okay, awesome. All right, let's look at this one. Jake and his group of friends are playing Among Us. It's a super fun game. There are 10 players in all, and 20% of them are imposters. How many imposters are there? Okay, when I read this and I use my percent problem formula, I see that it says there are 10 players in all. What does that tell you where 10 goes? In all means whole, so 10 is our whole. All right, then we already know 100%. Okay, so, and 20% of them are imposters. Well, 20% is a percent, so it can go in the percent slot. All right, and we don't know how many of them are imposters. It's very important. So we can just go from 10 to 100. 10 to 100 is 10 times 10. So now I know that I have to do x times 10 to get 20, okay? So something times 10, remember x is just a variable you don't know or a number you don't know, equals 20. What times 10 equals 20? You could also do 20 divided by something equals 10. But my favorite is to just switch the multiplication problem. 10 times what gives me 20? I know that is 10 times 2. So our question mark, or our x, which is the number we don't know, x equals 2. There were 2 imposters. All right, last question. There are 8 cats at the Dogs and Cats Adoption Fair, which makes up 10% of the total amount of animals at the fair. How many animals are there at the fair in all? Okay. This gives us, it tells us that there are 8 cats. Maybe that's the whole, if there's 8 cats in all. Oh, but it says that the 8 cats make up 10%. 8 cats only make up 10% of the total amount. And it asks us how many animals are at the fair in all. So we don't know our whole because we don't know the in all. All right? So we can do 8 over something equals, and our 10% goes in the percent slot. 10%. All right, we cannot do a cross because 8 does not go into 10 evenly. So what we should do now is the butterfly method where we multiply across, okay? So x times 10, x, remember, is just the number we don't know yet. So x times 10, I'm going to write 10x. And I'm going to multiply 108 together, and that makes 800. Okay? So now I know that 800 equals 10x. Because remember, our equal sign is still there. All right, and now we just have to get x alone because that will give us the answer. So right now, x is being multiplied by 10. The number we don't know is being multiplied by 10. So we're just going to do the opposite. We're going to divide it by 10. That cancels each other out. With what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. 800 divided by 10, or my favorite trick, you can just take out one of the zeros on top and bottom. 80 divided by 1, anything divided by 1 is itself. So that means that x was 80. All right? The whole was 80. There were 80 animals at the fair in all. All right. Whew, I hope you stuck with me tomorrow, or if you're watching this morning, today's quiz is going to be awesome. You're just going to have to do problems that look exactly like this. So make sure you use your notes to help you try to figure it out. And now for the bonus question. What is Miss Miller's favorite color? My favorite color is purple. So when I ask you about this tomorrow in the chat, if you tell me the right answer, then you can get a couple extra points on your quiz. All right, y'all are going to do awesome. See you in class.